Y'all, early. I mean, like, I know it's like 4 o'clock when I'm recording this, but time has no meaning anyway. Early. I don't think anyone actually watches the announcements anyway, right? So I could just sit here for 5 minutes and be like, yay, UUCOC Pledgefest, right? It's Scott. He's threatening to break all my Loki Pops if all my toys, if I don't shape up and do the announcements correctly. I'll be right back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey friends, that's better. Yeah. Welcome everybody to our online streaming services. Yay! We're coming at you every Sunday at 10 o'clock here on Zoom with your friends, or you can watch on Facebook or on YouTube. Lots of options. Also, if you go to Facebook, you will also be able to subscribe to our videos to receive notifications when we put up new ones. Very fun. If you're joining us on Zoom, welcome. Please consider sticking around for talkback afterwards. It is a lot of fun and one of my favorite parts of this church. We get to discuss the sermon and share our different points of view. And I always learn a lot from it. I always gain a lot from it. And it really makes what we're talking about a little more personal. So consider sticking around. The link is given out after the service. So just stick around for a few minutes. Let's see. This month, we are exploring UUism. What it is, its history, what do we believe, who are we, what's going on? And today's sermon is exploring our UU roots with our president, Beth Ferree. Helena Handbasket. In addition to Sunday services, we have other ways to connect, including Facebook, Instagram, the eBlast. Go to the eBlast, get your news, and our new YouTube channel. Pledgefest 2020. It appears here somewhere. If you haven't filled out your pledge form, it's about time. At some point, this card's going out of here, but go fill it out. And if you'd like to help the church in other ways, there are other ways to donate. Go to oakcliffuu.org/donate. You can use it like a collection plate. Amazon Smile if you're using Amazon. I Give if you're using anything else online. And the new text to give option. There it is. Super easy. Just set it up once. You can do it whenever. Like you're sitting here. Oh, I forgot to give. So, done. And if you're already helping the church by volunteering, like let's say that you helped out with the privet this week. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Sherry. And I know we're doing something tomorrow, so if you showed up on Friday, thanks for that. That counts as volunteer hours, and those volunteer hours add up to money for us in the form of grants. So log your volunteer hours on Breeze. I bet there's a link here for that. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm like this all the time. No, I'm just kidding, just on Sundays. Yeah. Welcome. We are very happy to have you. I was always the person at church the greeter who was just a little much. And so I'm that now, but without being so like, sign our guest book. oakcliffuu.org/guest. We'd love to see you and know you were here and know your name and what you're interested in. And if you need any more information on us, worship ministry. Barbara has done an excellent job helping Stacy and Stacy helping Barbara. I don't know. There's a lot of people who get this done so that we can enjoy the service every Sunday. If you want to be a cog in that machine, please do help out. Take on one little task, not the whole thing, just one little task to help get this on the road every Sunday. Talk to Stacy. probably Barbara would also do. If you also want to preach, if you have a message, if you want the pulpit, either within the message or without, like if you need an idea, like I want to speak, but I need an idea, they got you covered with these monthly themes. Or if you just have a message that you want to share because you've been inspired, that works too. Stacy. Member anniversaries. We have RC Saldana Flores. Yay! Thanks for being part of our community, RC. That's it. I don't know. It's cute, right? Gotta give it back to my daughter now. All right, guys. I hope that you have a happy Sunday. Bye-bye.
Good morning. Welcome to the services of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff in Dallas, Texas. We understand that as you prepared for church this morning, you had your choice, not just of a few churches in your area, or even the many churches in your metropolitan area, but of hundreds of thousands of services worldwide without increasing your commute even a minute. We are happy that you choose to be with us. As Unitarian Universalists, we serve and welcome people of all faiths. We're not a creedal church with a set of beliefs to which we all subscribe. We are more interested in how your spiritual journey and your relationship with the divine inform your life and your relationships. As stated in the first two of our 7 principles, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, and we strive for justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. Let us celebrate together this morning.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness.
Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
A House for Our Dreams by Dory Summers. We, all of us, built houses for our dreams. The masonry and lumber, glass and tiles, a solid form, wherein we see our hopes, a shelter and protection for our growth. This house shall be a dwelling place for courage, for integrity, for love, engendered, nourished by a family that speaks of we and means all humankind. These walls shall represent the privacy and dignity of individuals, the open door, a welcome to all people, all ages and all generations. The windows shall keep light of inquiry, illuminating from inside and within. May all words spoken here be born of love and energy rekindled in the hearts of those who dreamed this house, who plied the tools and paid the price to actualize the dream. May dreaming never cease for those within who know the world to be a troubled place, but dare to struggle with imperfectness toward that brighter hope, that better day. Let memories and warmth, a heritage, a quilted patchwork stitched with history of kindliness, of daring for the good, of funny moments, jokes and smiles and tears. This is a precious place, as every home that sheltered those who love and thrive and share. Its blessings is in lives that meet within, in living, learning, caring, sheltered here.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Your love will guide us through the hard night.
Because we love one another, we honor each other's individual spiritual journey, we celebrate life's abundance and service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together. And now in Spanish. Porque nos amamos unos al otro, oramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio a entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y aceptación. Así que hacemos pacto.
Good morning, UU. This time in our service, we will acknowledge joys and sorrows. In our community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person in our community has value and each person's experience matters. We share our sorrows with one another today, knowing that sorrow does come into each person's life and knowing that together we offer comfort. We also share our joys with one another, knowing that joy also comes into our lives, and knowing that together our voices can rise into a chorus of celebration. So at this time, we invite you to please share your joys and sorrows via the chat below. Take the time to do this, but also we do understand that not every joy and sorrow can be shared openly in the community. Some must be shared eye to eye or held within the heart. We also further recognize that some do not have voices which to speak the depth of their pain or the heighten of their celebration. But do know that we make space each week, either through silent candle or simply reflecting in our hearts, knowing that the life and experiences of every person matter, and together our lights shine together.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart of the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
This is the story of two spiritual groups who decided to join together for the benefit of both. The Universalists were formally established within the United States in 1793, although their roots run deeper than that and can be found as early as the 3rd century in the works of Origen of Alexandria. Their belief held that a loving God would not have chosen to punish his creation by eternal damnation, but would instead bring them all to salvation. Well, eventually. For some, that meant the sinner might spend a short time, given 25,000 years in hell, but ultimately would be reclaimed. The forerunner of universalism in the United States was George de Bonneville, 1703 to 1793, who migrated from Europe to Pennsylvania in 1741. Once here, he preached universalism while he also practiced medicine. This early movement was also moved forward by the preaching of John Murray, 1741 to 1815, who moved from England to colonial America in 1770. He propagated the doctrine throughout most of the colonies, often against much opposition from Orthodox Christians who believed that universalism would lead to immorality. The universalism of Murray was a modified Calvinism. Near the close of the 18th century, Universalists sought to follow the Hosea Ballou in rejecting the Calvinistic tenets. Ballou introduced a Unitarian conception of God and reinterpreted the atonement. He brought forth the supposition that the death of Jesus was not a vicarious atonement for the sins of mankind. Rather, it was a demonstration of God's infinite and unchangeable love for his children. Ballou also put great stress on the use of reason in religion. In 1859, the Unitarians created their own community in America. It was originally founded in Poland, Lithuania, and Transylvania in the late 16th century. Also founded on basic Christian tenets, the Unitarians did not hold to the belief of the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Instead, they held to the belief that God is one entity and Jesus was a prophet. As the Transcendentalist movement took form later, the Unitarians shifted some of their focus more towards science and philosophy. Many nights were spent in family drawing rooms at that time, pondering the nature of truth. One of my favorite authors, Louisa May Alcott, wrote about some of these discussions as they helped to form her as a fierce advocate for women's rights. Another journalist influenced by this movement was Sarah Margaret Fuller Ousley, May 23rd, 1810 to July 19th, 1850. She was the first American female war correspondent, writing for Horace Greeley's New York Tribune, as well as a full-time book reviewer. And her book, Women in the 19th Century, was considered the first major feminist work in the United States. Thomas Starr King, for whom the UU Seminary is named, was one of the few people ordained in both Unitarian and Universalist traditions. He is credited with keeping the state of California in the Union by raising money for the Sanitary Commission through speaking engagements. The Sanitary Commission was a private organization dedicated to taking care of the sick and injured soldiers during the Civil War. During this time, he raised $1.5 million, a hefty sum for that period. He summed up the difference between the Unitarians and Universalists by saying, "The Universalists believe that no loving God would condemn anyone to hell, while the Unitarians believe they are too good to be damned." Although the two traditions often worked together through the centuries following, it wasn't until 1961 they decided to make the union official. The philosophy of the Unitarian Universalists can be summed up with this joke. How many UUs does it take to change a light bulb? We choose not to make a statement either in favor of or against the need for a light bulb. However, if in your own journey you have found that light bulbs work for you, that is wonderful. You are invited to write a poem or compose a modern dance about your personal relationship with your light bulb. Present it next month at the annual Light Bulb Sunday service, in which we will explore a number of light bulb traditions, including incandescent, fluorescent, three-way, long life, and tinted, all of which are equally valid paths to luminescence. I'm pretty sure I had this discussion last week about the lighting and hope, which brings me to a little of our own congregational history. In the 1950s, a small group of Oak Cliff residents started to investigate the possibility of creating their own congregation separate from the First Church to make the weekly journey to church less cumbersome. At the time, they were supported in their efforts by Reverend Rabel. At first, they started with potlucks and informal gatherings that led them to investigate taking their idea to the next level. On May 2nd, 1961, this core group filed a charter application, which was received back on May 15th. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship became the first church chartered after the Unitarian and Universalists joined forces. One of the 31 chartered members is still attending and active today. I would like to take a moment to thank Elaine Wildman for her 59 years of dedication and support. Thank you, Elaine. We love you. The UUF, which was called the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at the time, released this statement of purpose. In the discipline of truth, irrespective of its source, and in the spirit of universal humanity, undivided by nation, race, or creed, we unite in fellowship to pursue and to practice, individually and collectively, the principles of the liberal religious faith. Over the past nearly 6 decades, our congregation has kept up with the changes of the larger UU community. Congregants have sought truth through book clubs and philosophical discussions. In the early 1990s, there was a sweat lodge placed on our land. While this lodge was eventually relocated, the land still carries the blessings bestowed upon it by the Native American prayers and dances that were held. In 1998, the labyrinth was first created. After falling into some disrepair, it was cleaned up and rededicated in March of 2017. In 2003, we became a church after moving from being a fellowship. Our talkback group has been an essential part of our spiritual practice for years. It remains a safe place for us to discuss the service or whatever else is on our mind, with the understanding that there is no judgment, only acceptance that we are all on our own path to truth. Another key element of the UU tradition is to recognize the power of nature and science. I find it somewhat amusing when I hear stories about how the RE kids are conducting science experiments, while the pagans in our community are meeting to discuss and tease one another about creating spells. Someday, perhaps, maybe those spells can be proven to work through empirical evidence by the RE kids. Hey, stranger things have happened. Our connection with nature here at UUCOC also reaches out to touch our responsibility as a force in social justice. Mike and Kat Lester currently have a garden on our grounds and are here on a monthly basis to hand out homegrown vegetables to the community. Another important aspect of the UU tradition is that of the beloved community. Because we are not held together by a creed or are waiting for a reward in the afterlife, we focus instead on what we can do in this one. We believe in life before death. This has been a common thread throughout our history. The Unitarian and Universalists had an important role in creating the Constitution and were a huge influence in certain aspects of its writing, such as the clear division between church and state. In fact, our second president, John Adams, was a Unitarian, as was his wife, Abigail, and their son, John Quincy Adams, our sixth president. Both Unitarians and Universalists also made up a significant population of the abolitionists during the time of slavery. In 1790, the Unitarians released a statement speaking out against this abhorrent practice. The Unitarians were also the first to ordain a woman minister, Olympia Brown, in 1863. Joining forces in 1961 made both groups stronger, especially when it came to the civil rights movement. Although we will delve deeper into social justice later in this series, I do want to highlight one particular event. This was the week we learned of the death of John Lewis, a congressman, a civil rights activist who was widely known for the marches on Selma, Alabama in March of 1965. With him were many UU ministers, but one in particular, James J. Reeb, was clubbed and died of his injuries 2 days later. 2 weeks after that, Viola Luzo, a UU activist, was murdered by white supremacists for her participation in the marches. March 7th, 1965 was known as Bloody Sunday for the sheer violence that took place that day. As Martin Luther King spoke of creating a beloved community, the UU Church took it on as a mission. Our goal is to create a world where no person is left behind in our determination for creating an equitable environment for all. There's so much more that could be said about the history of Unitarian Universalism, but alas, we would be here for several hours. Instead, I leave you with this thought. We have been given a mighty legacy, and sometimes the road to truth and justice seems like a long, dusty country lane with going nowhere. But it's a necessary journey. If we are to have a world where we are all free, all fed, all clothed, let us carry that legacy forward and provide the next generations with the hope and determination to pick up where we left off.
From age to age, how grandly rise the prophet souls in line above the passing centuries. Like beacon lights they shine, like beacon lights they shine. They witness to one heritage, the one Spirit's quickening breath, one widening reign from age to age of freedom and of faith, of freedom and of faith. Their kindling power our souls confess through dead, they speak today. How great the cloud of witnesses encompassing our way, encompassing
Today, as you make your pledge or offering to support this community, let the words of Heather Christensen inspire you to generosity. Individually and together, Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embodied in a few large congregations, numerous mid-sized congregations, and many, many small congregations. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Words to us from Lisa Doge. Why a flaming chalice? The question comes. It's a cup of life, we answer. A cup of blessings overflowing. A cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst. A cup of wine for celebration and dedication. The flame of truth, the fire of purification. Oil for anointing, healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, a light to warm our souls and guide us home.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And now in Spanish. Encendimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevamos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real through far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Song in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging, since love prevails. when tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging, when friends by shame are undefiled.